Have you ever wanted to dual boot or maybe even multi-boot your computer with a variety of different Linux distributions? Or perhaps you'd like to multi-boot Linux with Windows or something like that. Well, if you have and you've ever looked into it, you may have noticed that there's quite a few things that you have to do prior to being able to multi-boot or dual boot your system. And those can be a bit of a hassle. For example, if you've never done it before, you might not know what partitioning is or what a bootloader is, and you have to learn what those are as well as how to use them. And then you'd have to get used to using the bootloader every single time you boot your computer so you can select which system you want to boot into. Now, there are other things such as resizing partitions, making new partitions, dealing with what a partition table is. Perhaps you'd have to make a new one depending on what type of system you want to set up, and a few more things as well. But wouldn't it be great if you could just skip all of that and just have a button per drive and just push that button in when you want to use it and disable it when you don't want to use it? Well, that's exactly what you can do with the FlexiDOCK from ICY DOCK. Hi, I'm Michael Tennell with Tux Digital, and on this channel we do a lot of Linux related videos as well as tech gear reviews just like this one. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. Before we get started, I just want to let you know that this video is not a sponsored video. There's no affiliation between myself or Tux Digital with ICY DOCK. This is just a video of my opinion of this particular product. However, if you do decide to purchase this product, the links in the video description are affiliate links which will benefit the Tux Digital channel with a small commission from Amazon if you do decide to purchase through Amazon and through those links. So if you decide to purchase this based on the video and my opinion in this video, I would appreciate for you to use those links in the video description. Also, to make note, the links in the video description are regional based, so if you're in Canada or somewhere in Europe like Spain, Italy, or the UK, you'll find links directly to those sections of Amazon for your area to make it easier to find the particular product that I'm referring to in this video. So a little while back I had this theory. What if I were to just disable the hard drive or the SSDs from the computer, and that way the motherboard wouldn't detect them, and then I wouldn't have to worry about dealing with bootloader and boot options and stuff like that. Because for example, if you've never done so, there's occasionally, especially if an SSD, it's way faster to boot, you could miss the boot option to change, like just hit a specific key on your keyboard in order to activate the boot options, and if you don't, then it will just boot into your computer. But if you have a computer fast enough, it's possible that you might even get an option to do the boot, so you'd have to just repeatedly press that button so that you can force it to get to that screen. Now, this is a good thing that the computers boot so fast, but it can be a hassle when you're trying to multi-boot. So I was thinking, what if I just disabled the hard drives or the SSDs from the computer? Well, there's a couple solutions for that I found out. The first one is the most inconvenient option, and that would be to just unplug the drive that you're not going to use at a particular time. Now, of course, that's inconvenient because, well, you'd have to take the case off, take the side of the case off, or just leave it off entirely, which would be bad for airflow. Not a good option either way. Well, I decided not to do that and instead go onto Amazon and look to see if I have any options to do it in a hardware product style. Well, at the time the FlexiDOCK didn't exist. So I found another option, and that option was not very good. You could only use one drive at a time, and now the power button per drive was also per bay, so that the maximum a desktop could hold, or at least my particular desktop could hold, was 2. So I could only have a dual booting system using this method. But it worked at the time, so that's what I used. And then I was talking about this particular setup and this idea on a podcast, and I described roughly how I did it, but I didn't give any specifics or even the hardware information, so people decided to contact me through Telegram, going to tuxdigital.com/Telegram, the Telegram group, and they decided to ask me what was the solution I used, and then what was the products I used, and things like that. So I started explaining it, and about halfway through I realized, well, it's been a while, maybe like almost a year or so. There's probably something better that you could use instead of what I did. So I told them that, and then I thought, well, yeah, there probably is something better. I should look myself and see if I could find something better. And sure enough, there totally was something better, and that is the FlexiDOCK. So let's talk about the FlexiDOCK. But more specifically, there's a couple different things that are kind of considered FlexiDOCK from the ICY DOCK brand. So let's be more specific about which one we're talking about. And that is the MB524SP-B. So the MB524SP-B, we're going to just call it FlexiDOCK from now on. But that's the number. I'll have it in the description as well, so you can check it out, as well as the links directly to the affiliate links directly to Amazon. So you can just use those. So the FlexiDOCK is a 5.25-inch dock that is trayless and hot swappable. Now, trayless means that you can just put a drive in and out and not have to worry about like screwing it in or whatever. It just goes in and you can just eject it and pull it back out. Hot swappable means that if you have the machine already running, you can plug a drive in and it will activate the drive. For example, like if you want to do storage this way, you can plug in the drive, turn it on, and then it will start mounting it as a drive. So you don't have to just turn it off and turn it back on. You don't have to turn the whole computer off and turn it back on just to use these bays. You can use them hot swappable or in the way of multi-booting. So as you can imagine, this is a fantastic product for distro hoppers and multi-booting because each one of these drive bays have their own power button on it. So let's talk about the features of the FlexiDOCK. Now, we're going to talk about the front features and the back features separately. So we'll keep it organized that way. Now, the front features are the power buttons and the eject buttons and the 4 2.5-inch bays. Now, the trayless design is what makes this thing so cool, really. I mean, the power buttons are really what make it functional, but the ease of use of the eject buttons and the trayless design, it makes it fantastic. So because it's a trayless design, you don't need screws and you don't need to worry about any kind of like tray holders or whatever. You just take the drive, for example, you just take a drive and you just put it in and that's it. And as you can see, the eject button came out and you want to get it back out, you just hold the eject button, and there you go. So that's pretty much it for the front. It's the power button and the eject button per drive bay. Now, that's really the most useful aspects of this product. But there's also a cool fan right here. So this is a fan controller. So you can turn the fan speed up or turn it back down if you'd like to, depending on what kind of drives you're using. Which leads us to the back of the device. And that is the main fan is attached to the back, which is useful if you're going to do hard drives, but if you're going to do SSDs, it doesn't really matter. What's really cool about this, if you know for a fact that you're not going to use the fan ever, you can actually use this jumper right here and just completely turn it off if you want to. So regarding the ports on the back of the device, you'll see that there is the power port and the 4 SATA ports for the drive bays. Now, you'll notice that the ports on the SATA ports on the back are in a single row 4-column layout, whereas the front is a 2-column 2-row layout. Now, on the back, you'll notice that there are these up and down arrows. This means the top and bottom bay. Now, on this side, you'll see this particular one would be the up arrow on the right side of the back of the device, but the ports will correlate to the same side. So this is the top and bottom for this side, and the top and bottom for this side. So the order of the ports on the device are important so that you make sure that you get the right order towards your motherboard. Now, with that said, just make note that you'll probably have to look at the specs of your particular motherboard because they're all weird. So let's say you had 6 ports on your motherboard. You have typically 2 columns, 3 rows. So you'd have them in like a grid style. Now, it would make sense for you to assume that the topmost left would be number 1. It's usually not. In fact, there is never an order that makes any sense for these ports. Typically on a motherboard, they're all random scattered stuff, so you could have like 6 starting at the top left, or 4 starting at the top left, or 3, and then it's just like they're never really connected in any way. It's just like whatever fits, whatever order they put them on is what fits best for that particular board. So they're typically always different. So I would suggest that you look at the schematics of your particular board to see the order that you would need to work with. Now, here's an example of what I have to deal with for my motherboard because this is the order that I'm using. Let's move on to the multi-booting demonstration of this particular video. And to do that, of course, we need to install the FlexiDOCK. So I jumped ahead and have installed it now. So let's go ahead and start putting in the drives, or in this case, the SSDs. So let's go ahead and slip that one in. You can see how smooth and easy it is to do this. Like, you don't have to worry about screws or anything. Well, I mean, after you install the whole thing in the first place, you got screws in that case, but you know what I mean. So the first example of the multi-boot in this is Ubuntu running GNOME. Now we're going to go ahead and turn this off. Now we're going to disable this one. Go to number 2. Power that on. And now we have Solus with Budgie. So we're going to go ahead and turn this back off. Keep in mind, these distributions that I'm showing are not suggestions, they are just examples. This is number 3. So here we have Ubuntu Mate running, and now we're going to go ahead and turn this off so we can boot into distro number 4. And now we're going to boot number 4. So distro number 4 is Fedora. And as you can see, it's got GNOME, so we're going to go ahead and turn this off, turn this back off. So we're going to take out the Fedora drive and replace it with another drive. And here we have KDE Neon. So we're going to go ahead and So as I mentioned earlier in the video, this is a trayless hot swappable dock. The benefits of this is beyond just multi-booting, which multi-booting is the reason I got. Anyway, the hot swappability makes it easy to do data transfer, data backup, disk cloning, and stuff like that. So it's more useful than I've kind of presented it as in the sense of like the multi-booting aspect, but I really love the multi-booting aspects of it. So you could use this main bay or this top bay as a main drive and then use the other ones to multitask of making data backups and disk cloning and stuff like that. So it can be multi-purpose usefulness, even if you don't want a multi-boot, but why wouldn't you when you have the ability to do so, right? So let's talk about the negatives of this product. Now, no product is perfect, of course, so there's going to be some problems. I'm smiling because when I say that there's negatives, they're very nitpicky negatives. Now, there are 4 that I can think of right off the top of my hand that I experienced. 2 of which are very nitpicky, and then 2 of which are super nitpicky. So, just to be clear, I think that this product is great, and if it was able to do what I wanted to do very well and very effectively. So, I think it's a great product, and I'm more than comfortable with recommending it for people to do multi-booting or hot swappable drives and stuff like that. So, let's get to the super nitpicky stuff, okay? First one is it doesn't come with cables. That's not really a big deal because the cables are not very expensive and you can just go on Amazon and get them. That's a super nitpicky thing. It's not necessary that this comes with it, but it'd be nice if it did. The other super nitpicky things, it's about dust, and I realize that that's... Anyway, you see that these ports are not closed. They're open ports. So, normally, if you have 4 drives inside of the bays, there's no big deal, really, because there's not much space. So, let's just go ahead and put one in. And you'll see that there is a slight bit of space that dust can get into. It would be nice if there was a door that kind of blocked some of that dust. That's not really a big deal. And I'll go ahead and admit that myself. That's one of the super nitpicky ones. Super nitpicky. So let's move on to the nitpicky stuff. They're somewhat bothersome, but not really a big deal. They're not super nitpicky, but they are very nitpicky. And first of all, you'll see that the eject button is very flush with the case. Now, when I put the drive in, the eject button sticks out kind of too much. Yes, that's very nitpicky, but the reason why this is bothersome is because when you close the door on your case, the door might not fully close. It'll be mostly closed, but not fully. And you could just recess the dock inside the case a little bit more for the drive bay a little bit more, so it wouldn't have that problem. Or you could just do what I did and ignore it completely because it's like 95% closed. Okay, wait a minute. This is totally a super nitpicky problem. Okay, so there's 3 super nitpicky ones, and there's one that's legitimately bothersome, but still very nitpicky and doesn't really affect or hurt the product whatsoever. The thing that is bothersome but not really problematic is you'll see that there are 4 power buttons right here. Can you tell, just by looking, which one of these 4 is powered on? If not, you are in the same boat as me. I can't really tell even by looking at it, and I know which one it is. It's really hard to tell. And it's this one right here. This one is powered on, and the rest are not. Now, the reason why it's a problem is because the only way to tell that I've found is to just physically touch them and to see if it's recessed or not. So when the power button is off, it's flush with the dock front. When it's powered on, it's slightly recessed. And also, the power buttons are very, very small. So the only way to do it is to use your fingernail to kind of like push in the thing. And also, by the way, it's not a really power button, it's a wire. So you push in the wire. So it's bothersome. It's slightly bothersome. It's not really a problem. And you can figure it out if it's on or off within like a second of just rubbing your finger across it. But it would be much nicer if the power button was like a full button you could tell just visually if it was plugged in or powered on or powered off. So in the future, ICY DOCK, if you are watching this review and decide that you would like to improve it, that is really the only thing that I'd say is definitely a big improvement. That would be a big improvement. It's still a great product. I think it's a fantastic product, actually. It does everything I want, but it would be slightly better if it had more prominent power buttons. And the eject button being slightly smaller would be nice too, but more importantly, the power buttons would be really good. Thanks for watching this product review for the FlexiDOCK from ICY DOCK. If you're interested, you can find a link to this particular product in the show notes on the website and as well as the video description. These, again, reminder, these links are affiliate links. So if you do choose to purchase this product, then please do so with the links provided because that way Tux Digital will get a commission for that purchase. If you'd like to support the channel in another way, you could do so by finding the various different options at tuxdigital.com/contribute, such as PayPal, Patreon, and things like that. Also, you could order the Linux is Everywhere t-shirt by going to tuxdigital.com/LinuxIsEverywhere. Or if you're in Europe, you can go to tuxdigital.com/LinuxIsEverywhere.eu for shipping in Europe. If you like this video and you'd like to see more product reviews from me, then please let me know by liking that smash button and or by commenting in the comment section below and let me know what you think about this video, as well as what you think about the product itself if you do decide to purchase it. Thanks again for watching. I'm Michael Tennell with Tux Digital, and as always, keep using, learning, and enjoying Linux.